It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, joining us now is Rich Lowry, of course, head there of the National Review. Rich, your thoughts? You wrote a really powerful column about all roads leading to Kamala. Explain.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen here. I sort of thought maybe Biden was out of the woods as of yesterday, because he came out very strongly and said, I'm not going. And then we had Nancy Pelosi this morning saying, well, he needs to decide. Let's wait for his decision. So now you have this bizarre debate between Biden saying he's decided and a lot of Democrats who obviously want him to go but aren't quite willing to say it publicly, saying, oh, he hasn't decided yet. I just think roads lead to Kamala because, one, if Biden steps aside, it's very likely going to be Kamala. It'd be very chaotic to try to organize a open process at the convention, one. Two, if he doesn't go and somehow wins, which is unlikely but possible, he's not going to make it through 4 years, right? He couldn't even perhaps make it through the next 3 months. Who knows? So if he wins, we're obviously effectively electing her without her being at the top of the ticket.
Because he'll never be able to last 4 years. Not in his current condition.
He's probably not up for the job now, right?
Yeah. I don't know if he could last 7 months. Judge Weinberg, you had a question?
Yeah. Good to talk to you again, Rich. I'll tell you what troubles me. If she succeeds to the presidency that way, either by death or disability or he resigns, and she's elected as a vice president, then she gets to pick. So you're going to have an unelected president, and then you're going to have an unelected vice president because she'll designate who the vice president is. So you're going to have leadership of the free world by two people in this great democracy everybody's talking about who are both unelected. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. Now she'd be obviously, it'd be a constitutionally legitimate process. That's the way it's supposed to work, but it'd lack a certain amount of democratic legitimacy, which is why, I mean, the right thing for Biden to do for the country is to resign right now. Let her be president. I think she'd be a terrible president. I think she'd be a bad candidate, but she has the physical and mental capability to do it. She's not suffering from some debilitating condition or a decline that seems to get worse, every month as we watch it before our eyes. So that'd be the right thing to do. But Joe Biden has obviously sought this office for 40 years, mostly unsuccessfully until he lucked out in 2020. And he's not going to give it up easily. Once you have a Marine standing out your back door, saluting every time you walk out, and a nice helicopter flying you everywhere you want to go, that's not easy to give up.
And Rich, also, he controls $230 million worth of campaign contributions. And that gives him leverage on what's going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of think if he decides he's not running again, he's going to endorse her, because it would be an implicit concession that he made a terrible mistake in picking her, which he did, but he's not going to admit it. And the other thing, if he steps aside, it would also be an implicit admission on the part of the Democratic Party. They lied to the American public about an extremely important matter, which is whether the President of the United States was up for this or not. And we all saw it. None of us are White House insiders, but we knew, and they all knew too. They just weren't willing to say it.
And Rich, that's, I think, the big thing that's going to happen with her, too. Not only, obviously, by the way, let's not forget she's the border czar, and boy, has that been a disaster. But in addition to that, she claimed she had lunch with him, that she's having lunch with him like once a week. And there, you already see, you can see President Trump at the rallies already saying that she was he's saying now Biden and Kamala, he's lumping the two of them together because he's saying she had to be well aware of what was going on all this time.
Yeah. When did she know? Of course she knew. And we had this very powerful George Clooney op-ed in the New York Times that I thought was really devastating for Biden, saying he should go. But what he said about that Hollywood fundraiser he co-hosted is it was obviously a debacle, right? He wasn't up for it. We all knew it. John Favreau, this former Obama speechwriter, was there. He said on CNN today, everyone I talked to thought it was a disaster and he wasn't up for it. But when Biden kind of froze up after the event and had to be let off by Obama by the hand, and all of us said, what's going on? This is wrong. There's something wrong with the president. They all denied it. They all said we were crazy, and it was fine. Again, they were all lying.
Well, Rich, this is Rudy Washington. They really left themselves no choice by their virtue signaling. The way I see it, the only person that could undo Kamala Harris would be Michelle Obama. Other than that, there's no way they could put somebody ahead of her or move her without blowing up the convention. It just wouldn't happen.
But then they have to blow her up too.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have two black women as president and vice president.
No, exactly.
So nobody's going to remove her entirely from the slate.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to get around Kamala, and I just don't think, why would Michelle Obama, she has a very nice life, why would she step in the middle of this mess, right? And actually, we don't, she's a compelling figure in her way and a good communicator, but we have no idea whether she's a decent politician or not. That's not something she's never done. So it's either Biden or Harris, and it's not an easy choice. I can see why there's some hesitation. People think, well, let's just stick with the horse we got, even though he's a broken down nag.
How do you really feel, right?
Rich, Lowry, thank you so much for your comments, and let's catch up again soon.
All right.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's PriorityGoldGuide.com.